Now it's time for the Voice for the Industry podcast.
Well, Carissa, this was an interesting episode. I've known Tom for many, many years. I was his customer for many years. Now I've been his employee for many years. So it was a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear how he started from a computer repair company to phone services and everything in between.
Yeah, and it's just the really interesting to hear the what was behind the vision and the concept of realizing the power of this industry and the integrations with CRMs and stuff. And it was a fascinating journey, and it was a really good conversation to hear about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And going from his first Pest World to now all the technology conferences that he goes to, it's a lot of good information that he's bringing.
Yep, and he brings it back and puts it into place, which is great. Yeah. All right, well, here we go. All right, well, welcome everybody to the Voice for the Industry podcast, proudly sponsored by Voice for Pest. And today I am very honored to have the founder and CEO of Voice for Pest and our parent company, which he'll get into all that, Tom Welsh. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, I think, for having me.
Well, we'll see how it ends up, right? It always starts out good.
So, okay, yes.
Yeah, no.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, good. Glad to have you, of course. So I'm going to go through your bio, and then we'll start talking about some stuff. So Thomas Welsh is the founder and president of Affiliated Technology Solutions, the parent company of Voice for Pest, Voice for Turf, and Voice for Pros. With both a bachelor's and master's degree in electrical engineering from Rutgers University, Tom launched his entrepreneurial journey in the 1990s with the simple computer repair business. Over the decades, he has transformed Affiliated Technology into an industry-leading managed service provider, delivering comprehensive voice and data solutions to small and mid-sized businesses, and really big businesses too, across the nation. For the past decade, Tom has focused his efforts on innovating with the home service industry, leveraging long-standing industry relationships, a dedicated team, and a highly skilled development group. He continues to drive the creation of cutting-edge, purpose-built technology solutions that empower service professionals and streamline business operations. Well, that was pretty well written. I wonder who did that one. That's pretty good.
I wonder who wrote that.
Well, welcome, Mr. Tom Welsh. It's great to have you here.
Well, thank you again.
All right.
I guess, just to kind of set the stage on my life, my career, I got that bachelor's and master's in engineering, electrical engineering, and went to work for the government designing radars.
Oh,
and
interesting.
After a few short years, I realized that I didn't want to design radars for the government. And thanks to an internship I did in an engineering company when I was in college, I got offered the opportunity to be the operations manager of an engineering business.
Oh, nice.
And that's kind of where I got my start to the entrepreneurial side of things, where I guess as of July 1st, it'll be 35 years since I was picked up to be the manager of operations, and then from there, I had a pretty good computer background back in the 90s. If you remember the true IBM PC,
yes, I
still have it up in my attic. I looked at that time of the in the 90s, I guess, to make us as efficient as possible, and I was asked and wanted to grow the base. So we had an engineering business. I managed a metallurgical business where we did forensic metallurgy. Still do that today. Did the car accident happen because the axle broke, or did the axle break because of the car accident?
The chicken and the egg of accidents. Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
But my passion was really in the computer field, and that's when I started what I called Affiliated Computer Services. It was strategic because it was affiliated engineering laboratories, so I could use the same receptionist. I could say, "Good morning, affiliated," and then she had to figure out whether it was a computer call or an engineering call. Never anything I had to do, something I wanted to do, and so there wasn't any huge quick timeline. And so we just kind of put ads in Verizon Yellow Pages back in that day and waited for the phone to ring.
All right.
That's kind of how we got our start.
So how did you go from a computer repair company to a phone solution provider?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to answer that is to say, especially when you're in technology, the goal is to be relevant. Obviously the goal in any business is to make money, but in technology, for sure, it's about relevance. And we started as a computer break fix company, and then added more capability that we turned into a computer networking company. So it wasn't just fixing computers; it was putting computers together. And at the time, Novell Networks and Windows Server came in and stuff like that. Um, but then, again, looking ahead, I came across a Windows-based telephone system, right? Basic, nice addition to what we were doing, because we already had the small business clients that we could then bring in a phone system that was on a platform that we knew, we understood. So that launched me into the phone system business back in around year 2000, after that big Y2K thing. And then we just kind of followed the wave, or got ahead of the wave, where you figure, premise-based phone systems, went to hosted phone systems, which went to cloud-based phone systems, and so from a technology standpoint, we've always, just understood it and stayed ahead of the curve, but also put us in a position still as of today where we have the responsibility of what we're doing. We're not just reselling something else.
Right. Because a lot of people now, I think, don't remember or don't realize that back in back when you were talking about, a phone system was not something you just, now it's just, as long as you have internet, you have a phone system. Then a phone system was, a big piece of equipment that had to be established on your network and had to be, you needed trunk line. It was a very high level technical exercise. And now, it doesn't, if you have an internet connection, you got a phone system. And so it's so much different now. So,
and from a business standpoint, you look at it, back in the day, it was something people bought and spent a lot of money for to mount it on the wall in their office. And now, who buys a phone system, right? People subscribe and to most anything these days. And so we've also gone very much from a physical inventory type company to a subscription company as well.
So, okay. So what got you into the pest control vertical? You started everything and moving along. You followed the technology trail, got into the phone system side. How did Voice for Pest? Well, how did Affiliated Technology end up as Voice for Pest, Voice for Turf, Voice for Pros?
Well, I'm proud to say, for all the sales and marketing people out there, that this literally started with a cold call and a referral. Back in the day, fighting for phone system business in the New York City metro area, I had people cold calling out to set appointments, and one of my individuals was talking to a pest control company. I didn't know it at the time, but they were the largest commercial pest control company in New York City, and they're all ready to sign the deal with somebody else. And I'm like, well, if you like that one, you're going to love me. Please see me. And they did. So I went out there the next day and did my thing and closed that deal. And, as always, we do a great job in how we handle install and support. And this company was very, very happy with us and referred us to another company that you might be familiar with, Raymond.
I think I know this story a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
So again, back, 12 dozen years ago, right?
At least.
The company that I was talking with, or my client now, was part of this group called Copasan, and they had a referral to Raymond Kidwell of McCall Services down in Florida. So Raymond and you and I spoke many years ago, and we sold it over the phone, and I flew Super Dave down there to do the install for you.
Yeah.
And we made McCall's a very happy customer as well. And I'll never forget the line, right? You said, I'm part of this group. Give me $500 and don't ask me what it's for.
Right.
Show up in South Carolina, and you'll get to present to a group of pest control companies.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. And wow, what a group of great people. I remember to this day walking out of there so pumped. We had that big U,
Yeah.
and it landed many more at that time.
It was at the
So that's really
Gregory Pest Control office. Does that mean
Gregory
you went?
Pest
Yeah.
Control, yeah. And then so that kind of got me into servicing a group of pest control companies. Um, and then I guess if you want to carry it further, one thing I found out was that all these pest control companies were using the same CRM software called PestPack. So I was like, wow, if I could make my way in with the CRM, um, then I'd have a better opportunity to provide a service better than any other competitor, phone system competitor out there. And lo and behold, they're located in New Jersey, you know, half hour away from my office. So after some effort, showing up at a user conference, we were able to create our first rough integration to phone system where we would screen pop the customer information as the phone call came in, and that was really what launched us um, really into this industry.
So my side of the story, everything is absolutely true. But what happened was we had one of those old premise phone. We had an AT&T Merlin phone system. Um, and the thing about the Merlin phone system was nobody knew how to do anything. So if you wanted to change an extension, like an employee left and somebody came, we had to call Ron. And Ron was the Merlin magician, and he would float in and go in this dark little room and spend 30 minutes and come out and say, okay. And then we get a bill for like $500. so, so my boss said, hey, listen, we want to create a call center because we had 6 branches that were spread out. Each branch had their own admin and everything. And so he said, but you need a phone, we need a fancy internet phone system to do it. Right. And that's where it all started. And our good friend Teresa from Assured Environments was the company, knew we were looking, and it kind of went from there. So becoming a voice for pest company, even though it wasn't voice customer, even though it wasn't voice for pest at the time, is what allowed McCall, where I worked, to really drive forward from a technological standpoint. We created a contact center, and then we went paperless. So we did all these things as a result of becoming a customer of your phone system, and then the integration with PestPack. And then also to clarify, the reason all those other companies use PestPack is we are all part of the Copasan group, and that we were required to use that software to do Copasan work. So it was a really good match. So anyway, I just want to fill that side of it. But yeah, so here we are. I was a customer for many years, and obviously now I'm employed. In the interest of full disclosure, the Voice for the Industry podcast is a wholly owned subsidiary of Voice for Pest Affiliate Technology. So basically, this is Tom's podcast too. Anyway, all right. So you got an integration with PestPack, and then kind of what happened there? I mean, you didn't stop there. So what was the next? What was the next few steps?
Yeah, first of all, my group of customers told me that there's this big event every year called Pest World, the Super Bowl of pest control. You got to go to Pest World. So I remember getting my booth, and I didn't know that you had to rent the carpet separate, and all the things you got to learn about that. So I showed up, and I had one banner that said affiliate, and I had another banner that said technology, and I had another banner that said solutions. So affiliated technology solutions. And I stood there, and um, people didn't, well, they didn't walk to my booth. They actually ran from my booth. I think I think that the name was just too intimidating. Did not want to get involved. So I was like, all right, I have to come up with a better spiel here. So that's where I came up with the idea of being called Voice for Pest. And it actually had a nice ring at the beginning because people would come and say, "Oh, are you the advocate for the pest?" Do you,
Yeah.
So we changed, added a registered trademark called Voice for Pest, and that's really where we were able to to get this thing going. The integration to PestPack improved dramatically, and I think what we are proving in the industry is that our goal is not to give anybody advice on what CRM to use, how their business goes from that end. That's not our job. Our job is simply to enhance how you use that CRM with using our phone system. So as that became more and more apparent, and the trust factor, let's face it, is there. The competitive CRMs say, wait a minute, we want to be able to do the same thing. We want to be able to offer the same thing. So just by going to all shows and events and meeting more and more people out there in the industry, we had many, many more competitive CRMs in the pest control industry that wanted integration as well. And as I say to my wife and a lot of people, I sleep with all of them, but I manage not to piss any of them off, and that holds true for these many, many years. So we're at Voice for Pest, and then all of a sudden, I get introduced to the lawn care industry. And I had about 2 weeks before I was told this and was going to the Real Green show. So I quickly, we couldn't go in there as Voice for Pest, so that's why we came up with Voice for Turf. I was admonished that I had a lawnmower in my logo and not a spreader.
Yes.
But we did get that changed, thanks to a very good client of mine down
Yes. That great guy in Florida told you that. Yes.
So I didn't realize what I was creating when I have another registered trademark, Voice for Turf, because then that has led us into HVAC, plumbing, electric, other home services industries. So we then came up with Voice for Pros. So my marketing department has done a great job of creating a nice triangle logo, but they have told me that they're all leaving me if I come up with another name.
Yeah. Three's plenty, right? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. That's awesome.
So like I said, we basically turned ourselves into the ecosystem, right? In this home service industry, no matter what we're doing technology, phone calls are still going to be trumping everything, at least now in the foreseeable future. And, it's for us to be able to enhance that experience that gives better customer service. You're able to handle more calls just because you don't have to look up accountants and so on and so forth. Has been a big benefit to the industries.
Yeah. No, and as again, this is a little bit unusual because we're doing a podcast and you're my boss, and we're talking about what we do. So it's interesting, but I mean, as somebody from looking back, from the back looking forward, it started with this pretty basic integration with PestPack, and then over the years you're able to develop, and like you said, develop these relationships with multiple different software companies, and to your credit, there was no anger, and now it's gotten to the point, I think, where everybody just understands that Voice for Pest is connected to pretty much any software that a pest control lawn care company is going to use. And I know we've added I think we just added another one, right? And we continue to do that due to your vision of keeping that energy going. So we've talked about that. So now the big thing everybody talks about these days is AI. We're a technology company. AI is the latest, greatest technology. So, how is AI becoming, what are we doing? What is Voice for Pest doing with AI? There's a lot of options, to me, what I get, there's a lot of confusion from, customers and people in the industry because there's so many options. And so how are you kind of focusing and figuring out like what AI makes sense and what direction to go with it?
Yeah, well, I guess to take a little step backwards, I've been extremely fortunate and very proud to build a team that, as time has gone on, handles really the everyday functionality of what we're doing. And not just like any company. Marketing goes to sales, sales goes to install, customer service, support, accounting. It all just flows through very nicely. So that has led me, certainly in the last recent years, to being able to spend more time than I've ever done on the technology side of things. I mean, obviously that is my passion. That's what I've been in. I kind of learned to be a salesman out of necessity, I guess. maybe just because of my passion and what I was doing. But I spend most of my time, I travel a lot, but most of my traveling is going to technology events. Um, what's next? What do I need to plan for? How do I continue to stay relevant? So this whole idea, this whole technology, AI, is something we've been talking about for quite some time. It became it's interesting because it became more apparent on the private side as opposed to the consumer side as it did on the business side with ChatGPT coming out, right?
Right.
That kind of just made everybody like, whoa. And then from there, all these technologies, truly applicable, sellable technologies around AI have been flowing. So we were looking at this way ahead and hit the ground really very timely on when it was appropriate to bring in our initial set of AI tools that we have. As most people know, we provide a note where we put the time, date, stamp, link to the call recording, et cetera, in the CRM. Well, if we can develop our own abilities to give industry specific summaries um, inside the note, then what are we doing, right? We're taking away. Most people now don't have to have wrap up time. They
Right.
don't have to sit there when they're finished and create their biased summary of how the call went, right? Because our AI solution is going to give an unbiased. It's going to push that note in there, frees up the call, the CSR to take the next call. So that alone has made these companies just so much more efficient. And I say grown in the industry. We like to float that in the marketing department because, terms, crack and crevice,
Yeah.
you
Aeration
know,
and overseeding. Yeah.
yeah, and some people in this industry, like to use the word doctor. So, general AI might make lawn sound like long, things like that. So we continue to improve our models for this industry. So it's not just like, oh, they have a summary like everybody else.
Right.
We don't. But now taking it deeper, right? We've already know if it's a customer or prospect when they answer the phone, right? We do our CRM dip. Well, now if it's a prospect, we're looking for different things in the call than what we're doing if it's an existing customer. So the whole plethora of tools of knowing what the objection was, how you overcame the objection, what the call result was that a lead, a prospect, was it qualified, so we can create reports that make it easy follow up or load them in our dialer or things like that. So it's just a constant growth. It seems like every day there's another idea that we keep on delivering and adding. So customers, if you don't have access or you don't look at your customer portal, you should, because reports, added tools get put in there and upgraded in there pretty regularly, and that's going to continue, where we just keep on producing more data for you to better run your business. So yeah, I go to like I said, many tech shows, SMB all the way up through enterprise.
So you're going to these shows. You're seeing what's going on. So as you're going to these shows, what are you seeing? What's on the horizon? What are some of the things that are getting you excited? And even if it's not necessarily applies directly to voice for pest, I mean, I know you see a lot of different types of technology out there. So what's out there?
Geez, how long we got?
As long as you need, you're the boss.
Well, one thing I just want to touch on, this whole branded caller ID piece is something that, a lot of people have tried in many different ways, right? It makes sense. You want your brand to show up on most of your prospects and customers are on smartphones. So we're on the front of this wave of the new BCID, branded calling ID. It's just as it gets adopted with the cell phone providers out there, everybody's going to want to do that. But we're all prepared for that. It's just not, in most cases, it's not just yet the right time for that. But I've been working to try to better the field communication experience, and fortunately, there's been latest updates in the iOS and the Android operating systems that make that even better. So I know my marketing team is letting existing customers know about that. But just a few things that we're working on that I don't know. Not everything hits, but video is obviously very, very important part of what we do as businesses as we're running this podcast right now. So how can we possibly bring that in as a viable application in the home services industry? So the idea I've come up with, and I can't say that it's genuinely just us, but I look at it this way, and maybe I simplify it. But if I'm a prospect looking to get rid of ants in my kitchen, I'm probably going to call 3 pest control companies. I'm probably going to get a similar pricing on the 3. It's ants, so I'm probably going to get questions on what the ant looks like and stuff like that. So, would it be advantageous if I'm the CSR and I say, "Hey, listen, are you on a smartphone?" Yes, I am. Would it be okay if I texted you a link, and if you click the link, it'll just open up your camera and I can actually see the ant? I can see the bugs, see your infestation. If it was that simple for them to do that, would me as the prospect having 3 options, would I tend to go with the company that saw the problem?
Oh, that cared enough to try to see it.
Correct.
Right.
So we're close to picking a few companies out there who want to do some free trials with that to see if they want to implement that in, to see if that's something that would fly. And the other area that's been a stickler for many, many years is this whole idea of PCI compliance. AI has told us all that the value of recording your calls and analyzing them is something you just don't want to live without. But if you're recording your calls and you're taking credit cards over the phone, you have PCI compliance issues because you are recording the call. So, so we do a lot of things, and we've done the best we can do. And some software is trying to mute the call if it's on the window, or, obviously there's encryption and all this stuff happens. But when it all gets said and done, you as the pest control company, lawn care company, are still recording calls on your system, and you have that responsibility. So the idea here is to put kind of a midway approach to this, that I'm a CSR, I'm ready to take a credit card. Again, I'm able to hit a button on my desktop that basically inserts a mediary that handles the credit card transaction. People can still type it in, they could speak it, they could do whatever, but the CSR does not hear it, and it's not therefore transferred and recorded onto the phone system. However, through the integration, once it's complete, the CSR gets the acknowledgement that, hey, that was a successful completion. So that's another, I think, hot tool that we're looking into. Again, these things have been around for a while, and outside all the AI pieces, there's some other areas I'm looking at.
So, you mentioned AI, and that's whatever, that's what's coming. And well, it's here, it's coming. But one of the big things that we're seeing in the industry with a lot of our customers, and there's a few different options out there, is, voice bots, voice agents, right? And there's some companies out there that have voice agents, and, and there's a lot of, pest control and lawn care companies that are excited about it. But I think a lot of it's just people just don't really know, like, what there's so many different options and things like that. So, what do you see as somebody that's been in the technology space for many, many years, and specifically in this industry? What do you see, and what do you feel about, these AI agents, and, where is their place? Are they going to replace everybody? They're not going to have any humans anymore? And kind of what is your feeling and your vision of where that's going?
Well, when I go to answer that, I think of this book that I read many, many years ago called Crossing the Chasm. And where new technologies come out, and you got the early adopter phase, and for the products to really, when they really take hold, they've crossed this chasm, and now they're pretty mainstream. And I think a lot we could say, all our post-call AI products that we're providing right now are by far in mainstream. The amount of adoption we've achieved in such a relatively short amount of time is astounding. Um, but in my opinion, there's still quite a specialty involved when we literally get into AI voice bots, where you actually are having AI handling your customers or prospects, handling those conversations. Um, and to me, I still see that in the early adopter phase, because people get excited about it, and then all of a sudden they get one customer very upset that maybe leaves because of it, and then they turn it off. They don't want to have anything to do with it. So my advice is certainly um, move ahead with caution. Now, with that, we, as I mentioned before, our goal is to be the ecosystem, right? If you, as a pest control company, a lawn care company, want to pick this CRM, and you want to use this company that is saying that they've demoed and specializing in AI bots, well, we're your partner, because what we do is we're going to integrate it all together to make it work. Okay. Most of these partners are already connecting and integrating to me. And yeah, anybody can forward out to a bot, but what good is it if the bot needs to forward back to the phone system, to the live person? So us getting into higher technology to integrate these solutions together is really where we're actively at right now. Um, do I envision I envision AI answering the phone more as a receptionist, or what they call IVR in auto attendant type thing, where the AI's goal is to get you where you want to go, especially on the customer
Like
side.
an air traffic controller, right?
Get you there as quick as possible,
Yeah.
and then maybe then you're adding up, maybe you're verifying their address. Some of the things that the CSR would do that you could probably do automatically, and then from there move into, okay, well, now maybe there's cancel appointment, change appointment, doing some of the pieces of that that are more simple, because as we know from post call AI. Typical pest control company, 2/3 of their calls are customer calls.
Yeah.
And out of those 2/3, probably 40 to 50% have to do with scheduling. So if it's something simple to do that from the voice side, is what I think is going to be introduced. But then we're leaving it up to our customers on the best options for them if they are looking for bots to sell their services after hours, what have you. That's really where our approach is right now. I think if when we go to Pest World, as you know, Raymond, we walk around, most all the technology there has some sort of integration to us
Yeah.
for different reasons, whether they're taking our data post call or they're transferring with us. I think we just did I did a webinar with Applause, or
Yep.
with stuff like that. Baton, I just think of a few off the top of my head. So we'll continue to do that. So all our customers and all the partners out there know that we're there to work with all of them.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said for playing to your strength, right? I mean, yeah, could we as a company, could Voice for Pets, the company, develop an AI bot? Sure, but the amount of time and effort and resources, and that's not really who we are and what we do. So there's a lot of companies out there who are doing it and doing it very well. So that's, like you said, our position is, hey, use whoever's bot you want, use whatever CRM you want. We want to make it all work together. And
That's the breed.
yeah, and because I get people that ask me, "Are you guys gonna have a bot?" And I'm like, "No," because that's not who we are. So it works out really well. All right, well, that's fantastic. Well, that's pretty much the list of questions that we had. But the last one is, this is open forum. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything that we haven't covered? Any topics? It could be anything you want. So this is the guest topic section of the podcast.
Okay. One last thing on the technology side. Everybody likes ChatGPT. I do envision us being able to get to a point where we have Pest GPT. There's a lot of standards out there, or trying to get the standards all, I guess, whatever the term is, ratified or whatever, on how you house data. Again, you have the conversation. The conversation doesn't have to be just voice. It's voice, text, web chat, company email, etc. You have the parties of that. You have other attachments, data associated with it, like you might have from the CRM or whatever. This is the kind of data package you need to eventually get to a point where, as a pest control lawn care operator, I can go in and ask any question I want of my business, just like I can kind of go on the internet with ChatGPT and ask questions and get something back.
Yeah.
But my private data is my private data, but the algorithms in ChatGPT and such are still there, part of this, allowing your data to be securely gone through to give you the answers that you want. So
yeah, that's pretty. You think about that. That's pretty exciting. You can go in and just say, how many callbacks? No, I'm excited about that. There's somebody who used to have to run a lot of reports. I'm very excited about that. Well, that's wonderful. Now it's time for the fun part of the podcast. Not that this hasn't been fun. The fun part of the podcast. So we're going to bring Carissa in. Carissa, come on back. There she is. Hello, hello. All right. So, Tom, what we've been doing a couple different things, but we actually, you know Taylor Olson from Slingshot, now Applause, of course. He holds the current record of this game. So you're going to get to break his record, attempt to break his record. If you do, you're going to get a shirt that says I beat the host or I won or something. I don't know. But anyway, so the game we're going to play is
Did I pay for the shirt?
Yeah, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And we only have women's shirts now because Carissa messed up the order. No, I'm kidding. All right, so the game is you have to name as many states as you can in 30 seconds. All right? And we're not going to tell you how many he named. Or should we tell you? Would you like to know how many he named? What number you need to beat? Doesn't matter? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get it started so you can't sit there and think about it. So we're going to do a countdown. Chris is going to be the scorekeeper. 30 seconds. I'm going to count you down from 3. You ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, California, Washington, Oregon, New Mexico, Colorado, I hate. North
Stop.
Dakota.
How many?
24.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Mr. Olson had 26.
Really?
Yeah. No, he had 27. I had 26, I think. Yeah, he had 20. He beat me by 1. I've done it twice, 2 different guests, and I got the same number of states both times. So that seems to be about half.
In hindsight, I kept the rhythm going. I probably should have sped up my rhythm.
Yeah, you had kind of a pace that wasn't the fastest pace probably out there, but it's
the pace that I only got 5 more to go.
That's pretty good. But the first time I did it, I went East Coast, and then I kind of went west, like a U, like a horseshoe this way. But then the next time I try to go across, and the middle gets me. I'm good with the coast. But anyway. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Well, that's it. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Of course, I'm a big fan, and I think we have a great story to tell, and you really have taken, innovate. You're an innovator in the industry and have created a company and a solution that has had a very powerful impact on many pest control and lawn care companies. So I'm glad everybody's going to get to hear your story. The 8 or 9 people that watch this, I think, are really going to enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, I hope the 8 or 9 people know how much I personally care. We're a boutique type telephone solution offering. Okay, you're not going to have AI answer the phone, and then once we've frustrated you enough, send you off to another country to get support or whatever. And so I thank you, Raymond, Carissa, and really the whole team. I couldn't do it without everybody that we have here. And we work really hard here, but I'm proud to say we get along very well, their entire organization. And
it's all right. All right, group hug, everybody. Group hug. All right.
I'm most proud.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. Thanks again, Tom. Thank you for joining us.
See you next time.